Karl McDermott now joins us from Lords in his office there. Karl, amazing week for you. I mean, I think most of us will have seen the most famous feat in turf care now, as I like to refer to them. You had a bit of a downpour on Monday. What was going on there then?
Yeah, as you can probably see from the video, we had a hell of a lot of rain in a very short space of time, I think, probably over the course of 90 minutes.
How much fell?
Well, I didn't have my rain gauge out, as I was saying, sod's law. But apparently Kew Gardens, which isn't that far, at 42 millimetres. So we were probably thereabouts, I would have thought, if not more. But it was crazy, you know, 5 miles away, 6 miles away, had nothing, you know, so it was very, very localised.
And was it totally unexpected, or did you get a bit of a heads up?
No, we had a weather warning until midnight Monday night. But looking on the radar, you know, nothing had really come during the day, and there was nothing, you know, that heavy south of us. But it sort of got very, very bright and yellow on the radar quite quickly. And then obviously we had the deluge.
And what sort of time of day was that?
So we were probably looking at 4:30 up until about 6:30, 7, really.
So just when you're thinking about going home, eh?
Yeah, we had the covers on. So probably, I think it started about 5 o'clock actually. So the lads had just gone and just got heavier and heavier. And it was the thunder and lightning, really, you know, it was like totally over us for a good 90 minutes.
So amazing pictures as we've just seen there. You had a bit of a heads up that it might be happening. Apart from putting the covers on, did you do anything else to kind of prepare, or was it more than you really anticipated?
No, I think it was probably more than we anticipated, but I think no matter what we had done, apart from doing an Asia style covering the whole ground, there's not much more that could have saved anything, really. It was, you know, something I hadn't seen, and speaking to the guys that have been here for a number of years, you know, they've never seen that amount of water up to a knee down at the bottom of the ground, even in the old days when the old outfield was there. But there has been occasion where water's definitely run under the sheets with the slope the way it is, being 8 foot plus, you know, from one side to the other. So, but it was a situation where, no, nothing could have stopped that, I don't think.
So once you'd finished paddling and kind of had a chance to take it all in and the rain had stopped, was there anything you could do to recover and make things, you know, go quicker, or did you just have to wait?
No, so I think my main concern was obviously the square and the pitch for our upcoming game, which is tomorrow night. I had a little crawl under the hover cover. There's a little hatch you can climb in, and I soon realised that it was all the way under. So that had literally flown under 120, 130 foot worth of ground sheet, you know. So
Shoot.
That's a long,
Okay.
long way to go. Given the slope the way it is, if it rains heavily, it might go 40 or 50 feet. Or for it to go over 100 feet, it just sort of tells you how much weather there was.
Was it a case of waiting, or did you get any kit out?
No, it was still raining, I just had to wait for the lightning to finish, and then I got the blotter out and I blocked the top of the square, try and stop it running down. But to be fair, the damage had been done at that stage. But lightning came back, so it was evacuation again.
Okay. So scary and frustrating, I'm sure.
Yeah, frustrating. But I think it was a kind of situation where there's not a lot you could do, really. So I just sort of took it in my stride. Thankfully, we didn't have a game the next day or the day after. You know, we had England play Pakistan on previous Saturday. If that had happened Friday night, and then you're, you know, a few more grey hairs would be coming then, I think.
If you had any left, I think you'd be pulling your hair out. So the effects just short term?
Yeah, very short term. So the next morning, everything was gone. You know, when I came out an hour previous, before we had the lake at the bottom, the whole outfield was just covered in water, so you couldn't see anything. But again, once an hour later, that water had gone. Obviously, it's flown down the slope, but you could walk in the outfield. Very, very lucky. The outfield drains extremely well here. So the next morning, no ill effects at all. We could have played cricket, apart from a wet pitch, probably.
Will that have changed the characteristics of the pitch coming into the games you got planned? And I think you've got a 2020 Blast or a T20 Blast and a first of your 100 games coming up this week, haven't you?
Yeah, one pitch was affected, really. So it was basically the next morning, covers off, and we started preparing 2 pitches, and we'll pick the best one for tomorrow night, which has actually dried out quite nicely. We've been lucky with the weather, thankfully.
Climate change and extremes of weather hit the news all the time. Is this something that you think is now more common, and are you seeing more commonly? I know, you know, relatively speaking, Lords, you've not been there for years and years, but you've been a groundsman for years and years. Are you seeing that the climate is changing and that perhaps this weather extreme is going to happen more regularly?
Definitely. I was actually chatting with Gary Barwell yesterday at Edgbaston, and we were just talking about various stuff, and weather did come up. There's no doubt when it rains heavier and quicker. We don't tend to get the light rain that might last for a day or two anymore now. Seems to be when you get a deluge, it's a serious deluge, which I think has definitely happened, over the course of the last 10, 15 years. And, I never remember when in my early stages of my career getting rain as heavy as this, and it seems to be countrywide, to be honest.
Is that now something that you need to account for in your plans, or do you just have to kind of deal with it ad hoc, or can you do anything to prepare for dealing with it?
I think we just react to it, really. Obviously we can cover the whole square on a normal rainy day. I think now it's about keeping the outfield fit and ready for play. So our summer maintenance regimes are probably a bit more different. We do a bit more spiking now, certainly in the run-ups to test matches and one-day internationals. We'll certainly we'll spike the outfield a bit more to help if we do get any heavy rain, just to dry it out, and just a bit more cleaning out during the summer if we get a chance with maybe a bit of verticutting and things like that. So I think the outfield will certainly be the main challenge and the main sticking point if we do get deluges.
A possibility that you might have to look at how outfields are constructed?
Listen, we're very lucky here. Lords is constructed amazingly well. They spent a lot of money on it years ago, nearly up to £1 million, and it drains, way over 4 or 5 times more than the ECB recommendation on average, so the ECB are looking for a recommendation of about 30 millimeters an hour, and we just did infiltration tests at the beginning of the season, and we were up at 150 in some areas and 300 millimeters an hour in other areas. So certainly at the moment we've got no concerns about that.
Well, big week for you. You got T20 Blasts and the 100 coming up later on in the week. First time for the 100. Is that something you're excited about?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's obviously a new format. We've had one sort of trial game here where MCC women had a 100-day, and it seemed to go quite well. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Hopefully, most of our games are pretty much sold out. So obviously the attention is there. People want to come and see it, which is great. And we're obviously going to get some of the best cricketers in the world playing regularly.
And for you, does it require a different preparation for that pitch or wicket that you're going to use?
So we got 4 home games. We'll use 2 hybrid pitches for those games. They're quite close together, so we can use 2 pitches for 2 games, and say the hybrids will hold together nicely. And one is going to be the first time we use the hybrid, so it'll be interesting to see how that rolls out. But listen, they've been pretty good so far, so I'm optimistic.
Well, we look forward to seeing the games, and we look forward to catching up with you real soon. Thanks for taking time out of what's obviously been a very busy week for you, Karl.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.